Chapter 1 Wedge. We are in the most peaceful and prosperous continent in the world. He is the world's cutest father and mother bear. Attended the best school in the world. There is also Prince Charming, the most loyal dog in the world, who visits from time to time. Oh yes, there is a trend now to become the puppy love object of childhood sweethearts. The little white bear Julianne's whole life is as sweet and greasy as if the honey jar has been overturned. It's just that she, who is 0 degrees cute and has no blind spots, has been experiencing a little trouble in adolescence recently. For example, the beautiful sister who appears in her dreams every night always makes her doubt her own orientation. Another example is the dark circles under my eyes because I haven't been sleeping well recently. There are also some strange conversations that always appear in my mind, and I can't quite understand the dialogue, but I seem to understand the meaning. Aha! Compared with these, I suddenly felt that if I took this test paper home with only 60 in all subjects, it would not bother Xiong very much whether I would get beaten or something. WRK. Julianne, who was thinking this way, inadvertently opened the door to a new world that night. At this time, she suddenly discovered that all her worries had been answered. But where did this long-out yin, who wanted to contract all the beauties, come from? The god of creation is here cack. Destiny, little fairy, what have you done to me? Chapter 2 long time ago. The sky is vast. The god of creation lowered his broad and gorgeous wings and enveloped Drabel, the land of gods. They glide gently, bringing flowing air and calm and broad clouds from afar, until passing by the deep and charming Demo Sea, he stopped and was given the quiet but bright sparkling water like sapphire. So he casually leaned down, sniffing the mist above him, holding up a piece of the quietest and clearest blue and smeared it on his white wings. The area closest to the northeastern corner of Drabel's central divine pillar is located in the prestigious Alper Black Continent. It has the most livable 4 seasons and the broadest mind, accommodating residents of all races on the land, allowing them to merge peacefully and naturally, like rivers flowing into the sea. The breeze blew by, diluting the morning glow. In the quiet town in the center of Aphei, a white monument stands quietly, sighing silently against the scattered glow. The dense text on the tower has been washed away by the rain and is blurred, silently showing the passage of time. However, the weeds under the monument are still neatly trimmed, mixed with all kinds of delicate flowers, and in the morning breeze, the first dewdrop of the day falls. The distant whistle of the cargo ship heading to the continent of Gillis sounded, starting a new journey for the merchants. The birds in front of the window seemed to be awakened by the whistle, calling for their companions one after another. The sound was intermittent at first, but finally merged into a moving morning scene, awakening various races sleeping in the arms of the goddess of the night. The sleepy-eyed residents opened their white wooden windows one after another to welcome the new sunshine. They smiled and greeted each other, and then enjoyed the refreshing morning breeze together. Everything seems extremely peaceful and warm. Even people of different races and skin colors can share the same peace. However, just like the calm before the storm, every existing happiness is always preceded by a cruel baptism. Since the spiritual enlightenment thousands of years ago, knowing reproduction and profit, the word peace has never been achieved among various races. It was not until 1480 in the Continental Era that the extreme resistance initiated by the mixed elves and orcs ended the long-standing oppression and discrimination. It was a symphony of blood and tears. On top of the stacked corpses, there were countless heroes and clowns performing together. Their confrontations kicked off again and again, and they were lost again in the turbulent tide of history. Time did not stop for anyone. The alternating dance of life and death pulled human beings around like dust and sand. At that time, almost all races on the continent were involved. This bloody storm crushed too many lives, leaving the words in the history books as if stained with blood. Under the sky illuminated by the forbidden magic of the human race, vulture circled, and covered with corpses were the plains flattened by the rampage of the beasts, and the city walls crushed by the weapons of the dwarves. After a long period of fighting, the severely damaged continent fell into a long dormancy. It was not until the various races put aside their prejudices and reunited with each other that they regained their glory today. In fact, the origin of this battle can be traced back to the fact that some scum of human nobles at that time, tired of playing with the cowardly poor people of their own race, reached out to new and strange alien races and used endless tricks of cruelty and oppression. In the city closest to the imperial city, a popular entertainment among the nobles was to expel and massacre the local orc villages to see how gorgeous carpets they could weave with their hair of different colors, or to collect various races from human traffickers and throw them into hunting grounds to expel them for hunting, just to show off their excellent hunting skills. That day, the city lord stood on the wall and through elven children, drew his bow and shot arrows to pierce them, laughing loudly. He finally broke the limit of the tolerance of all races and lit the torch of this century-old war. The poor people of the human race who could no longer bear the oppression, and the angry foreigners whose tribesmen were massacred in large numbers, led by several powerful sages, joined the tsunami of the times one after another. The name of the city lord is still nailed to the wall of shame, together with his arrogant and unbridled brutality and his disdain for other people's lives. It not only brought pain to others, but also brought terrible disasters to himself and his descendants. The clansmen with his surname Anglia have now been almost hunted to death and have completely disappeared in the dark street corners. I-style equals lore 4876FF. This is a gorgeous dividing lineae. Friends, please suggest recommended readings. I-style equals lore 4876FF. This is a gorgeous dividing lineae. However, what makes people most uneasy is that the gods do not know whether it is because they have lost their love for the mainland, or as the rumors say, in order to fill the gaps caused by the war on the mainland, they all mysteriously disappeared at the end of the war. On that day 200 years ago, the vision that appeared in the sky became a nightmare for almost all races, because after that, not only the altars of the gods that everyone believed in collapsed, but also the descendants of the people who were flowing with the blood of the gods disappeared. Time has passed, hundreds of years have passed by in a hurry, and now many bones have been buried deep, integrated with the mainland, and become new life again. Only the main city reborn in the ruins, and a few blurred, heroic tower monuments washed away by heavy rain and time are left. The imperial system had long been abolished the moment the king's head was chopped off. Even the federal system became a thing of the past and was replaced by an all-race parliamentary system. Hatred was forgotten and rebuilt into a bridge of friendship. Only the cruel war songs on the steel, catering to the sound of waves crashing on the coastline, warned the next generation over and over again. Don't make the same mistake again. Certainly. In fact, all of this, looking at it now, has little to do with our protagonist. Because now she is just a little white ball, less than 1 year old, still rolling in the cradle. It has cute furry ears and soft flesh pads, which are common features of orcs on this continent. But with such a soft and sweet color and a warm touch, this one is probably the only one. The round kiss and round face are different from other bears, and even the paws are incredibly chubby. Even the pink heart-shaped palms that he licks from time to time in his sleep look like cute little honey-dense strawberry sugar balls sprinkled with thick frosting. The above are all the reflections of the dirty little pony in front of the cradle. The specific degree of authenticity remains to be investigated. However, compared to the little gray horse who is so thin that his eyes seem to take up half the size of his face, and his long kiss makes him look pitiful, this baby bear does exude a sweet scent of bee milk, making people want to take a good kiss. So it's secretly nicknamed her Sugar Ball. Although I overheard this little candy ball's parents calling her Ijewel, and later learned that she belongs to the mixed breed bear species in the northern icefield, and the honorary name of the group is prefixed with the ancient pronunciation Luha. Maybe her full name should actually be Julian Luha, but so what? Its little sugar ball is a little thing that belongs to it alone. It insists on thinking so, and it is the only one who can call her that, so it will not tell anyone. It was approaching evening that day, and twilight was still on the distant horizon. It was hungry, its legs were too weak to run, and it was chased by a group of children and pulled at the flying mane behind it. They waved branches and shouted, I want to ride, and let me tame this dragon." Their young hands scrambled to inflict pain on the thin foal until it managed to escape from the encirclement despite being injured, and rushed into the bushes under the house at the corner in a state of embarrassment. Afraid of being caught again, it lay down carefully under the bushes with its messy mane and injured body. Its big round eyes looked alertly, looking in the direction it came from through the gaps between the branches and leaves. It didn't until the footsteps and shouts gradually faded away that it raised its oversized head tremblingly and tried to stand up. Ouch! At this time, a carnivore's roar came from behind. Bang! Although the sound was not loud, it made the pony that had just stood up a little completely weak in its legs. It fell to the ground, and the fallen leaves that had just touched it fluttered down. It put its drooped head feebly on its forelimbs, thinking to myself, whatever you want, I can't run anyway. But after a while, there was still no movement behind it. It secretly looked around and found that nothing was approaching, so it tentatively got up and looked around, and found a slightly shaking cradle in the lawn behind it. Hey, is this an Orc cub? It approached with curiosity in front of the cradle, stretched out its head. I-style equals lore 4876FF. This is a gorgeous dividing linea. Friends, please suggest recommended readings. I-style equals lore 4876FF. This is a gorgeous dividing linea. Went over a little bit to find out. Oh, look at it this way. Look at it like this. My mouth is drooling. Woo-woo, it's not that he is greedy. In fact, under the afterglow of the sunset, the honey-white fur ball has a warmth that makes people's hearts soft. The little pony who has been hungry for a day can't help but think of his favorite red-eyed honeybee in the cabinet, and there are many more delicious things. And this white ball can also half-squint its innocent deep purple round eyes, babbling and waving its chubby bare paws to reach the butterfly that falls in front of it. It looks so clumsy and cute, and even when it yawns, it will spit out its cute little pink tongue. Ouch! A feeling that made his legs weak even more than hunger swept over him. He didn't know that this was called coming cute at the time, so he just knelt down half-kneeling, put his head on the cradle, and watched softly as the little bear babbling and singing toothlessly at his big guy's head. Then he took a sip of saliva. Although he is still very hungry, as a herbivore, he also has the dignity of white, tender, and pink little bear meat. He is not greedy for it. He just wants to see it. It's like looking at it a few more times will make you full. It wasn't until the afterglow of the setting sun enveloped the earth and the sound of walking could be heard upstairs that the little pony, which was so quiet that it was almost asleep, got up alertly, turned around, and ran out. Only later, from time to time, there would be such a little pony sneaking into the bushes and crawling into the field with a head of fallen leaves on its head. It fluttered its long legs, tilted its body, and tried to open the wooden fence, and used the most careful movements to enter the garden. It secretly took a look at its dessert for ball, and swung its tail to drive away the annoying bees around her. He thought he had done it very secretly, but he didn't know that the poor grass under the bushes and the obvious mud footprints had already betrayed his identity. Except for the first time when he left accidentally, the owner of the house later deliberately hid in the room upstairs, drinking tea, chatting, and watching it with a smile. He watched it come to tease the little fur ball from time to time. Thanks to its actions, the loving father bear and the seemingly gentle and amiable mother bear had to hang it upside down and give it a beating. It's not that I haven't thought about inviting this little gentleman to have afternoon tea with me. Yes, this pony is also a cub of the beast tribe, which can transform into a human. However, he is still young. Because the adults in the family are too cold and neglect to educate him, he is full of vigilance and shyness towards strangers. Therefore, when the owner steps down, he will always only see a figure leaving in a hurry or a timid look behind the tree. Until that day, the foal once again crawled beside the cradle, holding the newly picked dewy leaf buds in its mouth, teasing the little bear who could already sit up. Seeing her open her little mouth with just a few baby teeth exposed and trying to bite him, her big eyes trying to identify his direction, and the way the tears would not fall from the corners of her eyes, made the little pony feel soft. But at this moment, a furry paw suddenly attacked him. Bah! A small bear claw is also pasted on the other side. Is this the most brutal skill in the legend of the bear tribe? Brush your face with bear claws. Indeed, a bit cruel. The little pony blushed and thought, I can't move even if my face is pinched like this. Isn't it because the little soft paws are too soft and warm, just like the mother's caressing palms, and have the sweet smell of milk, which makes him reluctant to leave? Ayo. The next second, something even more crazier than before happened. The foal had never seen anything so terrible in his entire life. He almost collapsed and thought, everyone is fine, please save me, Cack. Because a bloody mouth just attacked him. Kwai Shuan bit his jaw hard. Then Lu slipped away. The little pony subconsciously lowered his head lower. It wasn't until the heat came from his chin again that he blushed and realized what happened, his expression frozen in place. Yes, this was the first time the baby bear got up. She got up and hugged the colt's face with her two little paws. She lifted up tremblingly and used her two hind paws to. I style equals lore 4876FF. This is a gorgeous dividing linea. Friends, please suggest recommended readings. I style equals lore 4876FF. This is a gorgeous segmentation-y. Pushing hard, he stepped forward and took the colt's chin into his mouth. Although it slipped away in less than 3 seconds, leaving a face full of milk-scented saliva, it was as if a super paralysis scroll had been thrown on his face. Oh my God. The innocent young horse was slapped cruelly, and what were the suspicious tooth marks? Repaying evil with kindness, the young horse holds up the sky for the bear cub. This outrageous sneak attack by Jumi the bear would probably have been described in this way if there were later generations of close riders present. In the eyes of the ferocious mother bear, it was a big surprise to see her, a naughty child who has been lazy and unwilling to move since she was born. She hugged her trousers and exposed her belly after climbing 2 steps, begging for caress and hugs. She was really the kind of bear child. Suddenly and unexpectedly, she touched the ground with her back paws and actively kissed her. It was a surprise and anger. Father Bear thought sourly, what's so good about kissing such a long face? Dad has such a majestic round face. It just feels better to be kissed. Hey, I always feel like something is weird. While the foal is still immersed in this sudden attack, oh no, it was a paralyzing attack from Master Dharma Saint and could not extricate himself. Father Bear and Mother Bear had already jumped downstairs at high speed and appeared next to the cradle, staring at his chin with eager eyes. So he only had time to raise his little hoof and weakly raised his hoof in surrender. Then I was invited into the house by the scary adults, had a good afternoon tea, and exchanged experiences on raising bears. Later, he would visit openly from time to time, and even occasionally stay in a guest room on the 2nd floor, munching biscuits with peace of mind, and talking to the little white bear about his life in his own language, such as the annoying little bear on the street, his father who forgot to feed him today, and the home where his relatives are usually not around. Time passed day by day, and the originally thin body became fattened by the biscuits. The first time, he lamented to the little bear whether it was because his father's fur was different from his own that he didn't like him and never came home. The clear tears that fell inadvertently from the corner of his eyes actually faded to the carpet. So, under the eager gaze of the mother bear, the little pony, who had no one cared about how many days he took a bath, obediently went to the bathroom to wash off his dusty protective color. So, a miracle happened. A little pony with a complex gray pattern on its forehead and shiny white rest of its body appeared at the door of the bathroom. When the little bear saw the changed little friend in front of him, he opened his mouth and laughed stupidly. He even rolled into a ball on the ground, like a little fur ball being stirred by his owner. My pattern must be too weird, the little pony thought, and lowered his head a little lonely, letting the oily and shiny mane that had been washed cover his big eyes. But in the next moment, the little thing that rolled in front of him grabbed his hoof, hugged him with two little bare paws, raised his round face, and his dark purple eyes were full of sparkling joy. The heart that had just been hit suddenly warmed up. The little pony lay down silently, letting the little fur ball touch here and pat there. He even lowered himself considerately when the little bear tried hard to climb on him. By the time the little bear could stand up tremblingly and ride the pony to play on the grass outside the house, it was already spring 4 years later. This spring was particularly gentle. When she lifted up her skirt and walked slowly onto this continent, the proud white ice field had to put away its indifference and retreat with her steps, revealing the warm green underneath. It is a vibrant yet intimate color. Tall trees held up new buds, and among the grass and branches underfoot, millions of flowers bloomed. After the drizzle, the sky was clear, and a gentle and powerful wind blew across the sea level, blowing the petals to the towering mountains in the northwest. There were huge castles surrounding them, and the most spectacular one was the most prestigious Abisha College in the entire Aphei continent. The 5-year enrollment baptism is about to begin. Chapter 3, she rides a white horse to go to the west to learn scriptures. Today is the 5-year enrollment and baptism registration day for Abatia College. The 8 Black Continent begins when the last drop of snow melts in the warm spring and ends when the first samui flower blooms on the branches in the hot summer. The months-long enrollment baptism is about to begin. As one of the most important events in Drabel's world, Baptismal Day can almost be said to be a critical moment that determines one's life. Except for the reclusive elves, most races, including goblins and dwarves, will gather on this day to perform baptisms in each race's unique way, laying the foundation for future growth. Taking the human race as an example, the simplest method on the continent is to use the identification crystals and dialysis mirrors left by the predecessors to get very accurate answers. Of course, their different personalities will lead to different future development, but it also provides a more accurate recommendation for the direction of talent development, which rarely makes mistakes unless it is like what appears in the storybook, where they are completely reborn due to adventure. Haha, the residents of Drabble World will laugh and call those people God's favored ones. However, the gods have disappeared for too many years. From initial panic till later indifference, mainland residents gradually got used to living without a superior. Those past beliefs are gradually disappearing from people's sight. Only a few people will carefully read the history books and feel the world where those superiors who changed the color of the world at the turn of their hands once existed. Nowadays, the annual festival only has the meaning of coming-of-age ceremony, while the baptismal day for admissions has gradually become the day that attracts the most attention. On this day, the quiet town ushered in the news of spring. All kinds of flowers bloomed and entwined freely, decorating the front doors of every house. The white pavement was dotted with roofs of various colors, and the morning light suddenly appeared, and green buds appeared. The orcs and bears, yes, they're the protagonists, the Luha family from the Nordic ice fields. They got up early in the morning and started getting ready. Little Jumi still had her eyes closed, so she was picked up by Father Bear and went to the bathroom. Father Bear used the caution that did not suit his cool and domineering masculine temperament to help the little one brush his teeth with a water-based magic alchemy tool. He then took out a small towel embroidered with a family portrait and rubbed it until the fur on the little bear's face was messed up. Under the white hair that was sticking up everywhere, he innocently squinted at Father Bear, and then he carried her to the dining table with a smile. There's no need to wake him up. Dad Bear is used to his daughter's dazed state when she wakes up in the morning. Anyway, it doesn't affect eating. Just like now, as soon as the spoon is brought to my mouth, the ooh is gone. Father Bear, who treats feeding as a game and teases his daughter, has a great time. For example, at this time, he was holding a spoon to the tip of Jumi's nose. The little guy moved his nose and sniffed, but when he opened his mouth, there was nothing. He couldn't help but poked his head forward in confusion, and Dad Bear removed the spoon harshly. At this time, the little guy opened his eyes slightly and looked for the food that would escape in front of him in confusion. Mother Bear was coming out with the dress she would need later, and she happened to see this scene. She didn't say anything. She just narrowed her eyes slightly and looked at Father Bear, who looked like a child who had not grown up. Father Bear quickly put down the spoon, knowing that he had been caught teasing his daughter, so he could only smile, his honey-brown skin turning slightly red unconsciously. Hey, my wife got up so early. Why don't you take a good rest? You were so hard yesterday. After saying this, he seemed a little embarrassed. He picked up the little bear and kissed it. Zumi, are you right? Zumi's mother is the most beautiful and lovely mother in the world. What should I do if I don't take a good rest after being injured? The little bear raised his paws and touched his face in confusion, having no idea what this stupid adult was talking about. Mama Bear is such a beauty. She has a beautiful fair face. Her lavender eyes seem to have blue light flowing like the deep sea. Just lifting up a strand of thick black long curly hair and twirling it around her fingers can melt everyone's heart. But at this moment she laughed angrily. Ace, don't do this. I wasn't hurt this time, but you are so thick-skinned and rough-tongued that I let you stand in front of me. You're not honest tonight after being hit so hard. After saying that, she stretched out her hand and pinched the other person's ears. She was still so thin-skinned at her age, and she even used her daughter as a shield. Having said that, the dishonest Father Bear still received a sweet good morning kiss in the next second. NBS. I style equals lore 4876FF. This is a gorgeous dividing lineae. Friends, please suggest recommended readings. I style equals lore 4876FF. This is a gorgeous dividing lineae. Seeing them quarreling with each other, the little bear Zumi joined the face-gnawing army not to be outdone and generously rewarded her parents with saliva. Just like that, you kissed me and I kissed you. The family was sweet and sweet for a while, and they didn't walk out of the house until they made an appointment with the neighbor. Alas, Zumi had never seen so many people. The bustle made the spring even warmer. Parents with children all wore the most appropriate family dresses and carried their children to the special registration points in various residential areas in advance. They either signed their names with magical effects or directly pressed a beast-shaped paw print. The registration office doesn't stick to the format of signatures, doesn't care about race, and doesn't care about wealth or poverty, but they at least care a little bit. The age of the child. The fox instructor at the registration desk looked a little distressed at the 4 orcs and 2 heads of the bear tribe in front of him, transforming into human forms and hugging a small white bear, and also holding a small pony. No matter how you look at it, this combination is a bit strange. He took the badge from the butler puppet behind the foal, proving that he had the right to represent the foal's parents. After careful inspection, the instructor knew that the foal's problem was solved, but the little white bear gave him a hard time. He raised his head, adjusted his small round glasses with some embarrassment, considered his words, and discussed with the parents in front of him. Sir and madam, the little one looks very healthy and lively, and I believe she is smart enough, but no matter what, she is not yet 5 years old. That's right. Ibidia's unwritten rule is that the minimum age for admission is 5 years old. For children before the age of 5, where else can be better than being with their parents? What's more, school is not a pure land. Young children are more innocent and cruel than adults, and the harm they inadvertently do is even more irreparable. No matter how strict the teacher is, they will be caught off guard. Therefore, most parents will keep their children around to educate them until they are 8 years old and have taught them the basic family species talent skills. For humans, 5 years old is still young, not to mention that the average age of the orcs on the mainland is higher than that of humans. The average lifespan of 120 years made their minds grow more slowly. While the Creator God gave them strong bodies, he also took away their superb wisdom. Therefore, in this ethnic group, except for the extremely talented Fox tribe and Snake tribe, there are few sages who surpass the wisdom of the mainland. Most parents are reluctant to entrust their cubs before the age of 8 to others, not to mention such a gentle and cute little white bear. Even though the bear tribe has brute strength and physique that other tribes cannot match, it cannot erase the fact that the IQ development of this race is even more retarded. Could it be that these parents are irresponsible and want to abandon their little friend? It seems that they all feel sorry for the little bear. If the mother bear hadn't tried hard to hold it, the father bear would have happily mentioned the little bear cub and went home for tea after hearing those words of rejection. But what is going on? Mother bear sighed helplessly, looked at the little white bear at her feet, who looked even more naive in her little vest and bow skirt, and pulled back her fat paws that were only meant to hug the little white horse's neck. Finding that everyone was looking at him, the little white horse seemed a little embarrassed, but seeing the little bear pouting and holding back tears, and continuing to work so unyieldingly to get closer to him, he still pushed his head over to let her touch her despite everyone's gaze. Mother bear reluctantly stroked her hanging fluffy curly hair, rolled her eyes in a way that was completely inconsistent with her beautiful appearance, and said, "Look, this little guy has had a good relationship with our neighbor since he was a child. I heard that he was going to the school for clothes teaching and could no longer visit her. She has been crying for several days. We can only help her find a solution." Jew, is this the reason? The instructor also felt that it was ridiculous, but seeing the little white bear's stubbornness that would never give up until it reached its goal, and the tears in its eyes that were trying to hold back, he felt a little soft-hearted. But when he thought that this little guy was still 6 months short of 5 years old, he could nod his head no matter what. The mother of the white bear saw the reason for his hesitation, pursed her lips, and smiled. Her dark curly hair made her fair skin shine, and her big eyes looked a bit cute when she smiled. "It's okay, instructor. We couldn't bear to let her go, so we didn't want her to attend at first. After all, a bishop school is a closed education. As a result, our big bear also broke through the exploration period some time ago, so he received the college's internship teacher qualification certificate. I also have one here." The instructor, who was startled by the word "ye." "I style equals lore 4876 FF. This is a gorgeous dividing linii." Friends, please suggest recommended readings. "I style equals lore 4876 FF. This is a gorgeous dividing linii." Seeing the other party take out 2 familiar pieces of parchment, which were the teacher qualification certificates he had seen many years ago, he heard the lady in front of him continue to say, "I had put them away for a long time, and I was reluctant to leave Jumi, so I kept delaying them. I sent them to the school some time ago and have received feedback from the school. In this way, we can live in the teacher's area of the school and take care of the little one at any time." The instructor couldn't help but stand in awe of a pair of masters at the exploration level who were still so young. Looking at the little white bear again, although he was still so silly and fat, his forehead was shining brightly, and he seemed to have a future genius aura. Oh, by the way, on this continent, if magic and divine power are called uniformly, the rankings are roughly like this. Young Ming Qian, First Fusion Power Explorer, Sheng Sheng Master, Peeping Sky, Ling Sheng, Demigod, are divided into 9 levels. On the continent, there are very few who have reached Peeping Sky, and Ling Sheng is even rarer. The ones behind are already close to the realm of gods, and have not appeared for hundreds of years. In fact, among all races, due to the large number of mixed blood after the war, only 3 people can have innate skills. The difference is only in strength. If ranked by the intensity of combat ability or auxiliary ability to transform the body, there's only one possibility of being able to transcend the exploration stage and become a master. Most people are stuck in the integration stage for life and cannot enter. Only when they enter the realm of masters can they have a longer lifespan than ordinary people. However, this field is not so easy to enter. Before that, they usually listen to God signs or inner calls and become a good teacher who teaches others. This is also the origin of their name. God is fair. Among those who are not talented enough, there are a large number of alchemists, architects, and outstanding talents in the art field. When they are good enough, They will also feel similar to the advancement of magic and extend their lives. However, these methods are far less clear than magic learning. There is no fixed method for such advancement, but it also adds more possibilities to the colorfulness of the continent. Pull the camera back here. The instructor carefully checked the two people's entrance professor certificates, and after confirming that they were correct, the matter was finalized. The parents couldn't go to school and just left the little one rolling around in the room. Thinking about it makes people feel so soft. He thought, after all, the 6 red wheels were not much different. The school had a preparatory class. At worst, if the little guy had short legs and couldn't keep up with the progress and pass the basic entrance examination, he would have to live in the tutor's parents' residence for 2 years. So a big magic stamp of